adfreeshows.com. Welcome to a special edition of what started on Twitter as hashtag Shred Treasures with the Hall of Famer himself. Welcome to adfreeshows.com, Gerald Brisco. Mr. Brisco, how are you doing today, sir?
Derek, I'm doing wonderful, man. Isn't it funny, social media nowadays? I mean, here my wife tells me, and my son's wife tells me, clean out that damn shed, and I've been wanting to do this. And I wish I would have listened to them 20 years ago. I might have saved some more memorabilia and made a little bit of money off of it. But
that's true.
Now it's just basically for me. But I go up there, I start digging out this thing, I mean, Twitter audience, it's that audience that grew up during the Attitude Era and all that stuff. So, I said, man, this is intriguing me. I bet you there's some people out there that it would excite a little bit, bring back memories. That's what it was all about, bringing back those memories of all when we were a little bit younger and really exposed to professional wrestling, really exposed to sports entertainment, I should say. And each one of those little items, I get such great comments. Oh, I bring back memories when I first started watching wrestling. So I'm glad to do it. It turned into a heck of a deal. And here we are talking about it.
Here we are talking about it. So one of my first questions I have for you before we get into what we're going to be discussing today is, why did you start collecting the shed treasures, as you call it?
I don't have a rhyme or reason. It's just something, when I first started with the WWE, I was doing local promotion. I was what they call a local promoter. I had the entire South and Southeast there, from Virginia on down over to Alabama and Louisiana down to Florida here. And so I got some unique stuff that the public really didn't. I got promotional items that were giveaways, basically.
Right.
I didn't know how to promote. So I hooked up with the radio station. Wait a minute, we got to give giveaways. So I called WWE and I said, hey, I'm worth this radio station. Doing a great job, but they want some giveaways. And man, that opened the floodgate. They started sending me down stuff, and I started making trades for radio time, TV time, and all that stuff. And the stuff that I had left over, I just pulled up in the shed. I have this big old shed up here. You imagine, and his big shed, it was on Fox 13 here. That even got the where I started posting it. Even got the ears and eyeballs at Fox 13, the biggest local channel here in Tampa. They called and wanted to come out and do a segment on it. They did a nice little 5-6 minute 6 o'clock news segment on it. You get away from all this tragedy on the news. So, I was just shocked by it. But that's how basically I did started stacking stuff up there. And, we had kids, so we didn't really have room to put it in the house. So my shed was the place. I wish I would have taken a little bit of care of them, but hindsight's always a bad thing to think about. So it is what it is.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you ended up finding that stuff, because it's led us to today, and I'm glad you started posting that stuff as well. It's been a treasure trove. I am 39 years old. I grew up watching the WWF in the Northeast. I'm based out of Southern New Jersey. So seeing some of those old Hasbro figures and the shows and the posters, especially that I got to read about in PWI, and then the Attitude Era exploded. And it's been fun to follow you on Twitter and make sure that you do so if you haven't already. Well, one of the things that jumped out at me when I saw this, and one of the reasons we're talking today, is we just passed the Royal Rumble. And one of the things you posted was a chair from the Royal Rumble in 1995. Now, for those of you who don't know, that show took place at the UFC Sundome in Tampa. Your role in the WWF in 1995 with the Royal Rumble, were you still the local promoter? And how special was Tampa to you, especially in your time in the business and then for the WWF?
Oh, wow. Tampa is my home base, of course. And as we mentioned earlier, I was a local promoter. And getting a show, a WWE show here, was hard to do. Number one, that's really because the difficulty of it was really the way I got hooked up with the WWE, because NWA is NWA territory, the old NWA, not the new offspring, and that's a good offspring, but the old WWE with Eddie Graham and Sam Muncie, president, Jim Barnett, Crockett, and all those guys. And so they had a monopoly on the buildings. They were running building 52 weeks out of the year.
Right.
So when I started with the WWE, I get to a place like that. Well, all we can offer you is 4 shows a year. So you had to, those shows you had to offer them something of value, not just a house show where you're going to draw 1,500 to 2,000. Back in when WWE started, that was about the average house show, about 1,200 people. So, I go in, I did big braggadocio. Well, I can bring in Hulk Hogan, bring in all these guys, and we back this out. I can't offer you 50 shows, but I can offer you 4 to 6 shows that will sell out every event that I'm bringing there. And so I was able to penetrate it because of my reputation of being a local guy here, and then also working Mid-Atlantic. I had the connections up there. And Georgia, I had the connection there, Virginia, San Francisco, Mid-Atlantic. And I was very fortunate, the promoters liked me. They liked my presence that I had. So when they were always negotiating building deals or TV deals, me or my brother was always asked to come on because we're like the guys that they could present, had been class side people and one was say, oh, let's put class in front of my name. But
Right.
they somebody that could converse with these building managers. And I became friends with them. And not only, but afterwards, I'm still friends with some of these guys today. So that's basically how I got him. So I went to the Sun Dome. Sun Dome hadn't been used. They were using the Army. They were using another little University of Tampa building there that hold about 1,500 people called Walmart Tennis Hall. So the Sun Dome was 10,000 seater. So I went out there and I presented my case with them. And okay, we'll give you a couple of trial dates, but you better keep your word to us. So it got down to that last show toward the end of the year or toward the beginning of the year. And I called Vince. I said, Vince, I got to fulfill my promises down there at my hometown. Is there any way we call them pay-per-views back in those days? Is there any way we can get a pay-per-view here? And they just switched, Derek, from doing the closed circuit pay-per-views on the old big monitor and all that to the regular where you buy on TV and you get a stream across your TV, which was brand new and it's exclusive. Well, how about the Royal Rumble? I said, well, I don't really know what a Royal Rumble is, but let's try it. The longer I have the local hero out there, which is Hulk Hogan, I'll promote anything. He said, you got it. So tell the people that. So I went back and told them, hey, man, we got this opportunity for a Royal Rumble. What's the Royal Rumble? So I had to go and tell them Royal Rumble. I explained that myself. This must have been good because we did it. Literally, it was the first $100,000 professional wrestling house in the state of Florida. So I'm really proud of that fact.
That's impressive. It's as you look at the history of the Sun Dome, you did Saturday night's main events, you did a bunch of house shows, Superstars of Wrestling tapings, but you're right. This is the first pay-per-view in that building. They wouldn't return back to that building for almost, according to my math, 25 years for TV again. Did something happen at this show that pulled them back, or was it just we need to go to a bigger building at that point?
We need to go to a bigger building at that point, and I believe shortly after that, or what they call now Hamlet Arena, where the Tampa Bay Lightning, where WWE Memorial or these Battle Bomb mostly deal was being built, and Orlando sprung up with a couple of big buildings. Now, bear in mind, this is a long time ago, 95, 30 years. There weren't a lot of big coliseums or arenas in the state of Florida. Yeah. Miami or especially Orlando. Orlando had a convention center that we ran a lot of our beginning shows in, but they started rounding up these big buildings, Jacksonville, all over the state. And so the Sun Dome became like a secondary type building because of the size, and it had one of these translucent tops to it that everybody familiar here in Florida, our Tropicana Field where the race play just got blown away here, and so it had leaks, and it was hard to control the daylight. I mean, the light coming through, and for the production standpoint. So it was a difficult building, but the experts at WWE always seem to make it work.
Absolutely. And one of the things that it's fun to look back at, it's 1995, 30 years ago, and the Rumble is normally the kickoff to the WrestleMania season. But a big part of the Rumble has always been your good friend, Pat Patterson. The impact that Pat had in putting the match together, putting this format together, was the Rumble his baby at the end of the day?
Oh, you better believe it, 100%. I mean, Pat would start working on the rumble. As soon as one rumble would be finished, we would start. I remember this particular rumble though. Pat lived on a golf course out north of town, Innsbruck, a very famous golf course here in well, anywhere that they play golf. Innsbruck is very well very not. But Pat had a house up there on one of the greens, but Vince would fly down. He'd bring Pritchard with him. If JR was involved with us, he'd bring JR. And the group, it was a very small crew at that time. If you, I mean, Pat, myself, Bruce, JR, and Vince. And that was basically the creating team for every damn thing. So we spent a lot of time together. We and Vince rented a house out there, or rented a condo out there by where Pat was saying. We would get out, we'd drive out to Innsbruck and we'd sit there all day long for weeks upon a time putting this thing together. About 3 or 4 months before, we really put due diligence in it and really started busting our butts trying to get it put together. So that's really where all the stuff that was created was out there at Pat's condo.
Now, speaking of that rumble, it's one of the shortest rumbles. It's the first year that we didn't use 2 minutes, and it's got one of the best stories. Now, current WWE champion Cody Rhodes has said that this finish to this rumble is his favorite of all time. You have Shawn Michaels starting at 1, Davey Boy Smith starting at 2. They go the whole length of the time, and the infamous finish where Davey knocks Shawn over. Shawn holds on. It looks like he hit 2 feet. It's not shot that way. All of a sudden, Davey Boy Smith is up on the turnbuckle celebrating. He's going to WrestleMania, and then here comes Shawn, knocking him out of the ring. Earl Hebner rings the bell. It is official. Shawn Michaels is going to WrestleMania as the #1 contender. To me, I know it's Cody's favorite. It's my second favorite. My favorite's Brett and Lex going over the top, and they're tied. But this is one of the most athletic finishes you've had in a Royal Rumble. Shawn, it would take another year, but Shawn would get there. How fun was it to see this type of finish and the execution to put the faith in Shawn to go 40 minutes along with Davey and then have that finish be it?
Well, number one, you got two of the best talents ever to step in a ring, and not only with WWE, but in our business, and those two young men. And Shawn was just peaking at the time. Davey Boy, of course, had picked up the steam, and he was rolling. He was better known as one of the Bulldogs who would separated him because he stood out that much as an individual.
Yes.
Knew we had to take advantage of that talent. So this is the way to do it. And Pat, we were sitting out there, and there's a lot of things that are at stake when you do a finish like that. Is he going to touch? And I think if you would touch that from a different direction, you might have seen those feet touch or touch. But the creative people and Kevin Dunn's crew and everybody, they're so creative. They can shoot from angles that make things look not believable. And so they shot it the right way, and the suspense of the crowd. I mean, you could when you can feel something in a match or backstage or even sitting in the stands and even sitting in that nosebleed seat up there. When you can feel something, you got them. And sitting backstage, when the people react like that, you got them. So I remember I sat next to Pat and I elbowed Pat. And then you got him, man. You got him. But not me. Those guys got him. Pat didn't like taking credit for nothing, But
Yeah.
you could that pride in his thing. So I was extremely proud of the finish. I was extremely proud for Pat, and I was extremely proud for Shawn Michaels. And I love the fact that going from the very beginning to the very end. I like it. So I think the guy should put in some time and showcase his abilities. So I have nothing but good things to say about that type of time limit on this Rumble.
Now, to go to WrestleMania, earlier in the night, you had Bret Hart taking on Diesel. Now, that's a WWF champion, Intercontinental champion. You really started to see how far along Diesel was coming up. And when you look at Kevin Nash going to WrestleMania, his first WrestleMania as champion, that was a big deal, was it not?
It certainly was. Let me just go back and digress a little bit on Kevin Nash. I spoke before about, building managers. Well, I'm sitting here in Tampa, and like I said, I'm promoting all these states here. I get this phone call from Mike Ocean. I believe it's his dad was the manager also of the Atlanta Omni when Omni was first built, the Ocean family. They managed it, and when the dad retired, he put Mike in. Well, Mike was a young guy like we were all at that time there. He liked to frequent clubs, So he got a club, and the bouncer of this club is Kevin Nash. So he started talking. Kevin had just come back, and knee was blowing out in European basketball or whatever. He just come back, he was all down in the dumps, didn't have anything to do. And Mike, being my friend, he knew what I was doing. He knew I was always looking for talent. And so Mike picks up the phone. And he talked to Kevin first. He said, "Hey, you mind if I call it buddy of mine? He might be able to get you in wrestling. I'd like to try that. I don't have anything else going for me." So Mike called me, and I said, "Send me a picture." So he sent me a picture down, and I'm really going out here on this one there. I had the picture, and that particular day, I got the picture, and remind me to get back to the day. But that particular day, I got the picture. I was promoting a show in Pensacola, Florida, and I took Terry Boleo, which lives here in the area too. Terry chartered a plane because it's 400 miles to Pensacola and a long trip back, and then 400 miles back. And Terry called me, you want to go? So back in those days, there were faxes. They come across that old slimy paper, rolled up paper. So
Yeah.
I put this picture from a fax that the host had sent me in one of my booking books. So I opened that up, and they said, "What do you got there?" And he said, "I want to show you something." Terry looks at Kevin Nash's picture. I swear to God, it's a true story. There, the guy, dang, looks like the next Hulk Hogan there. Looks like the next Hulk. I said, "Well, we got a few miles out of this one sitting next to me first, so let's worry about that." And sure enough, so I gave my coach the directions to give to Kevin. Go see Jody Hamilton, the old assassin wrestler that wore the mask. He's doing training up there. So Kevin looked up Jody and got hooked up with him, and the rest is history. So I go way, way, way back with Kevin Nash. And it was so fun to see Kevin's progression because he wasn't that great in the beginning. He was one of the big old lumber basketball players, really down to pressing coordination. The difference in all types of sport is drastic, and it's a really good athlete that is able to adapt the two. And Kevin, being one of those great athletes, was able to adapt himself. Yeah, of course, he became a star. So I was thrilled to death on his progression.
That is his first pay-per-view as WWF champion, as he won it a couple of months before defeating Bob Backlund, and here he is taking on Brett. Now you actually get involved in the finish. So during that match, you have Owen Hart running out, you have Bob Backlund running out, you have Shawn Michaels running out, Jeff Jarrett, you just have everybody running out here. I'm sure this finish is done to protect both of these gentlemen. Diesel's big first match. But there you are. It's you, Rene Goulet, Dave Hebner, Pat Patterson, getting everybody stop interrupting the match. And finally, it ends up being a schmaz. But you going out there as an agent to break up the fights, was that something you enjoyed doing and something you relished, or was it something you'd rather stay backstage for?
As my partner Pat would say, I hated it. I hated going out and trying to break up a fight because I know as a talent, you don't like guys getting in between. Right. You got to do your job as a backstage guy and try to create space between the two guys. But in your mind as a talent, they don't like this. They don't like try to figure out different ways that you can do it. And I kind of just followed Pat's lead on that and kind of just got in between where I needed to step in between there. But I hated going out because I knew what it meant to the talent that you were disrupting something. And so I just tried to be a traffic cop out there. How does Tony Gurria work? With this.
He is one of the more noticeable road agents. He's always been one of my favorites when he comes running down with his jacket on. He always looks so animated. And then there's Pat in the background like,
Tony would have been a great school traffic cop, right?
Yes, he would have. Directing traffic. He would have been good for the airports too. It's one of the major parts of this, and the reason why we're talking here today. what seemed like a minor thing was the WF Tag Team Title Tournament. And it comes down to Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka taking on the 1-2-3 Kid, who's now Sean Waltman, and Hardcore Bob Holly, who back then was Sparky Plug.
Sparky Plug. He loved that, by the way. Don't kill me for saying that. He hated it.
He wrote extensively about it in his book, how much he hated it. But yes. And what we will see is earlier in the night, Lawrence Taylor, major football player, New York Giants, linebacker, Hall of Famer, sitting ringside enjoying the show. Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka get the loss. And then somehow Lawrence Taylor's kind of laughing at him for losing. Bam Bam does not take kindly to that. LT sticks out his hand to shake his hand, and Bam Bam shoves him backwards through his chair.
What a shout, too.
When you look back, how big a moment is this to have a Hall of Fame NFL player interacting with what seems like a normal tag team title match? But man, is it push Bam Bam Bigelow into the stratosphere for a WrestleMania main event, does it not?
Well, yeah, it does. And having Lawrence Taylor involved, and back then, of course, WrestleMania wanted to add all the celebrities, but they kind of backed off that. So,
right.
And, you had your football WrestleMania, I don't know if that was before or after, but Lawrence Taylor loved our business. And Lawrence was a big name down there. They just played the Super Bowl not many months before that, or a time where it was Buffalo and New York, and LT's team won. The Giants won, of course, on a wide right shot north, I believe, field goal.
God Norwood, I remember that well.
Well, I'm gonna piss a lot of people off these messes. All right, that's what we do on that free shows, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but having Lawrence Taylor, it just added a lot more to our publicity. I was able to go to the sports editor and I said, hey, look what we got. Not only do we have Hogan here and we have all the stars here, but we got a football great. Of course, he was a Hall of Famer at the time. Well, it was just a matter of time, but we got Lawrence Taylor. So, of course, the sports editors, they jumped at an opportunity. This outsider coming into our realm of our business there. So it was a lot of these radio shows and all that stuff, and we're able to get a lot of publicity off of that. So having Lawrence Taylor involved was a big coup on the WWE's part.
Did you ever see LT moving himself into having a wrestling match? And were you surprised that was the way it went, instead of him being what is normal celebrity involvement? I'm in the corner, I'm representing this guy. I mean, he's a freak athlete. Bam Bam is as well. But did you ever see them actually squaring off against each other?
Well, squaring off legit, no, but squaring off had a working wrestling ring, yeah, and Lawrence was really cool about that too. He knew a bit. I mean, he knew what to do. He worked with that. He had a lot of respect for Bam. Bam Bam was one of his favorite characters on the show. And so when it proposed to him, hey, Bam Bigelow's gonna do this, there were no hesitation whatsoever. His only request is when he hits me, he got to hit me, because I've been hit before and I don't want to take a bop off somebody just pretending like you're going to show me. So
Sure.
Bam Bam, he said, he don't have to ask me twice. I'll make sure of that. So he hit him and the damn chair went back. And if you watch the video, my son, Wes Brisco, is sitting right behind LT, and that's how I ended up with the chair. But LT, Wes said, he behind it, and I'm promoted. I gave my son second row seat right behind LT. So, but you know what? I knew the camera would be on it.
How about that? So you do have the chair. We'll make sure we get some pictures of it shot up there. But that was my next question, was how did you end up with the chair that Lawrence Taylor went through? And as a promoter, just strategically planning your son right there. I'm sure that just happened to be a coincidence, right?
It was total coincidence, but it was funny, of course, I'm the promoter, so I'm the last one to leave the building. I have to do all the settlements and make sure the ring's tore down and everything.
Sure.
And back in the WWE was completely different. The WWF was completely different horse, and now they say everything. I mean, everything,
Right.
Back then, it was just another prop. So we're walking out of the building, and Wes said, Dad, look over there. That probably because it mangled up, and I've straightened it up a little bit. So and I wish I hadn't touched it. But he said, look at it. That's the chair the LT went to. I know he was right in front of me. I said, we'll go over and grab it if you want it. So we took it out of the garbage bin that was going to be dumped in the garbage the next morning. and I put it through in the back of my truck, and we brought it home, and it's been in my house ever since. So that's basically how I got it. It went up, rescued it out of a garbage pail, out of a big dumpster.
Great job, Wes. Way to keep your mind on the ball. Make sure. How old was Wes in 1995?
Oh God, he's
Let's see if I can look this up on the internet for you.
so I don't know. He was in his teens. Early teens.
So, according to Wikipedia,
He's already been what, 12 years old.
yeah, and according to Wikipedia, he was born in 1983, so he would have been 12 years old. He already had his mind on, we got to make sure we keep everything that's important memorabilia-wise. I guess he got it from his dad.
Thought of it. I didn't think of it. He said, Dad, grab that chair. I mean, we had no issue in our mind that it would become valuable one day, but even not valuable, but just a keepsake and a conversation piece that it is.
And it's led to us here today, here on Shed Treasures on adfreeshows.com. Now,
Shed Tracer.
I'm sticking with it. You hashtagged it. I'm going to stick with it. LT wasn't the only celebrity there that night. You also had Pamela Anderson there, promoting her appearance for WrestleMania. I got to ask, do you have any fun Pam Anderson stories?
Well, that's where my 12-year-old son comes into play again, of course. He's fascinated by it. And not only her, the other one there, Jennifer, or I think she was
Jenny McCarthy.
McCarthy. Yeah, she was there. One a nice lady, both of them were. And, they worked their tails off backstage with the talent. And they weren't shy about getting involved in anything. But, yeah. My son would follow, of course, I was backstage and I made sure he had a back. He'd follow me around. He stuck to me like glue that night. Most of the time, he's off talking to his friend, the wrestlers and all that stuff, running, getting them coffee. Undertaker, he was Undertaker's hot dog and coffee guy. Go get me that. Of course, Undertaker come back, tip him $50 or more, Of course, that's what he loved doing. So, but that night, Dad, you working with family? You working with family? And I said, yeah, I work over there. So he was around me the entire night while I was backstage working with family. So, yeah, it's funny to kind of recall memories and seeing a teenager, his hormones going crazy over that beautiful young blonde anymore.
A little bit different scenario when you're 12 years old compared to when you're the adult walking around. I got to ask Mr. Brisco, we are a couple days removed from the Royal Rumble. Did you get a chance to check it out while you were home enjoying the Florida weather?
Well, I knew we were going to do this show, but I didn't watch it live. I had other things. My wife had other plans for me for that, so I didn't watch it live. But of course, with the miracles of streaming now, which is a wonderful thing, you never get behind if you want to stay current. So I kind of forwarded through it. I love the fact that Jey Uso won it, and I also love the fact that he did not tell his father. And
I thought that was
the raw emotional reaction that we got was genuine. And you can't script that, you can't write it, you can't plan it, you can't do any of the above. You just gotta be there when it happens, and that Ace camera team was there when it happened. And
yes,
I love Rikishi. He's one of my all-time favorites. So I was so proud of the family. Plus, I've known those kids since they were babies. It's always fun to see these kids grow up and become the stars that they become.
What'd you think of having him and John Cena at the end? It was Cena's last Rumble. The story that was told and the ending part of it with CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They have so much talent in that company right now. It's hard to spotlight them all, but they did a great job with it.
Yeah, and that's just a flashback to Pat Patterson creativity on how you got to write these things, share all these big spots with them. But I love John Cena, and being a fan, you're thinking, well, John Cena's last run, is he going to win this thing? I don't know, or I don't know the finish of the role. I'm not involved in that anymore. Don't care. I just want to be a fan and be able to see it and witness it as a fan is exciting. So I figured all along that John's gonna win and Jay's gonna be his full getting to WrestleMania. I don't have a little run off that thing, but Never in my wildest imagination did I think Jay, even when it was down on him, that Jay would go over this sec. I was actually thrilled that he did because I know what kind of job John's going to do coming back from the thing.
I appreciate the time. We got a couple things I want to get to before we wrap up today. You have an upcoming appearance at the Squared Circle Expo in April, squaredcirclex.com. Make sure you check it out. Get your tickets. It's not just Mr. Brisco. You're going to see good old JR there over the weekend. It looks like they have a lot of big time stars. Bret Hart's going to be there. Barry Windham's going to be there. The Enforcer Arn Anderson. So make sure you do not miss out the opportunity to see Gerald Brisco at the Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis, the home of this past year's Royal Rumble. And we're going to have a lot more coming to you here on adfreeshows.com. I think we're going to continue this series. And one of the things I'm looking
I want to say one thing while we're doing is that let's congratulate Ad Free's own Eric Bischoff.
Yes.
To the George Regis Luthez Hall of Fame up in Waterloo, Iowa in July of this coming July. What a deserving deal. And then I'm really proud he's getting the Jack Bristol Red Belt Award.
Yes.
Eric will receive one of those red replica belts of the NWA World Championship that Jack won.
That's awesome.
Congratulations, Eric.
That's awesome. Make sure you get to Mr. Brisco's Twitter at FG Brisco, and you will find out all the information for the TNT Hall of Fame. You'll also see all his upcoming appearances. And don't forget, currently here on adfreeshows.com, Brisco and Bradshaw is available early and ad-free every week. And make sure you check them out on YouTube as well, Brisco and Bradshaw. And speaking of title belts, as you just brought up, next month, I would like to discuss with you the Florida Junior Heavyweight Championship that you discovered. There's a couple title belts that our fans, especially here in Ad Free Shows, all memorabilia collectors.
I'll tell you, that's right. What?
Oh, he got it. He's gonna shoot the title right into this shot as the teaser for next week. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us on our debut show. We hope to bring you more, and we hope that you have questions for it. But let's take a look. There it is, the Florida Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Old school belts on there. They're not made like this anymore. This thing is heavy as to be. It was hell dragging these things to the airport, especially if you had one or two of them. So, but that's it. It's a beautiful belt designed by Tampa's own Levy Trophy Company, and these Levy belts are few and far between, as our boss Conrad would justify.
Yes, he does. Yeah, if anyone knows anything about that, it's him. Perfect. We're going to talk about that next month. We're going to talk about, and stay tuned, because there's a lot of WrestleMania stuff that Mr. Brisco posted on Twitter that we're going to be talking about as well. We are welcoming all feedback and questions, so please drop it in the link below. And Mr. Brisco, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Look forward to many, many more of these.
Thank you, sir.
The hash mark, or what is the hash mark? Is that what you call it?
Hashtag.
Hashtag, I don't know about that. Hashtag Sid Frazier, man.
Thank you guys for joining us here on adfreeshows.com. We'll see you soon.